Folks, it's me, Denny Carter from Rotoworld and NBC Sports, coming at you for the last one, the Week 17 Fantasy Football Q&A. Some are calling this Championship Week. Others agree it is quite the Championship Week. Not everybody's paying attention still because, well, not everybody's in the championship. That's the way it goes. Although I'm sure you are focused on dominating your consolation brackets with, guys like Ashton Genty and Tony Pollard, just running roughshod through the consolation brackets. No one can stop your team now as it tries to get to fifth place. I mean, maybe some of you are paying attention in Week 17 because you don't want to be dead last in your league and do whatever horrible thing the last place person has to do. So that's valid, and I'll help you through that. So you give me your Week 17 questions. I'll give you the answers again, since it is the playoffs and specifically the championship week. I'll give you the good ones. I will give you the good answers. I'm not going to hold out on you like I did throughout the season. I'm kidding. Mostly. I want to recommend some content to consume in the coming days, or let's see, today's Friday, so you're gonna have to do it quickly because we have games Saturday, of course, including exclusively on Peacock, Packers and Ravens. Here's what you have to do. You have to consume the Week 17 preview of the Rotoworld football show with me, Kyle Dvorchak, and Pat Daugherty. We go through every game, talk about matchups, talk about good plays and bad plays, things of that nature. Check that out. Check out my matchup column, which is live on the site right now. Looks at 4 games where teams are going against either pass funnel or run funnel defenses and what that might mean for your start-sit decisions. And then my regression files, which is on the site as well. I'm trying to remember the players I talked about in regression files, but yeah, right. Jacoby Brissett was the cover guy for regression files because I think he will regress in a good way in Week 17 in another good matchup. So as always, we're going to talk about good offensive environments. We're going to talk about run game matchups, and we're going to talk about slot receiver matchups. And by the way, I believe I mentioned, as a deep sleeper, what can you do? But Josh Downs last week in the slot matchup discourse because he was playing a San Francisco defense that has been terrible against slot pass catchers this season. So maybe that helped you if you were in a super deep league and you said, "Oh, I had to hold my nose and play Josh Downs. Are you kidding me?" But actually, both him and Tyler Warren got there because they had good slot matchups against the Niners. So that's why I do what I do with that situation. So let's start real quick. Well, first of all, I'm going to narrow down some things here just so we have a good look at which defenses are bad and good headed into Week 17. You also, I mean, look, it's just part of it. This is not unique to 2025. You have to know which teams really need to win and also which teams really need to lose in order to improve their draft spot. I mean, look, let's just be real about this Raiders Giants game in Week 17. It's Tankpocalypse. I mean, they put Brock Bowers on IR kind of out of nowhere. I mean, I know he's been banged up, whatever, but okay, he's on IR. The Giants are, making some IR moves at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if we see more of that, especially on defense, right? Neither the Giants nor the Raiders want to win. I will say, I'm more concerned about the Giants not trying to win because they really, truly, under Mike Kafka, have tried very hard and been extremely successful in not winning. And what I mean by that is like last week, they were 24% below their expected pass rate against whoever they played. And Washington, maybe. Anyway, it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is you have to keep that in mind when you're making start sit decisions. And we'll talk through that if folks want to know about like Wan'Dale Robinson or Tyrone Tracy or Theo Johnson, guys of that nature. Even Jackson Dart, like they're not going to be trying to score points, and that's a problem. I do think Pete Carroll, there's a chance, just knowing Pete Carroll as I do personally as a friend. We play golf every Thursday. Pete, if you're listening, what's up? What's up, buddy? Having a good season so far. Pete Carroll might actually try to win this game. Like at some point, just be like, whatever, man, like we're scoring points. It doesn't matter. So, like Genty to me is like, got to play. I mean, against a horrific Giants front seven. The Giants defense is so bad that it's like a reversed funnel situation. So they're the worst rush defense in the league, and teams still lean toward the pass slightly against them. I don't know if I've ever seen that. So it's like, okay, like, yeah, we know that your rush defense is the worst, but your pass defense is even worse than that. So we're going to attack you via the air, via the pass. Keep all this in mind. Try to, at least as we work through these. Let's talk about positive game environments, not negative. We're going to start with, let's see. Bengals Cardinals, the aforementioned Jacoby Brissett game, 53.5 point total. I do think you're just trying to play everybody here on both sides of the ball. Mike Gesicki as like a tertiary option. Michael Carter, who, functioned as the RB1 last week, even though I think he only saw one target. And, that's disappointing, but what can we do in a terrible Arizona backfield? Second game here, Niners Bears up to 52.5 point total. Basically neither of these teams pressure the passer. I talked about this on Thursday with Pat and Kyle. And you put Brock Purdy, as we saw against the Colts, you put Brock Purdy in a clean pocket against a middling secondary, and he will make the EPA machine go burr. Okay. Like all Kyle Shanahan quarterbacks make the EPA machine go burr. Purdy, especially so. And especially when he's not pressured. I just can't picture a scenario where he's facing much pressure here. He should be able to pick apart the Bears. So that creates a good environment for everybody involved, right? So maybe the Bears won't be able to do what they usually do and kind of take the air out of the ball, keep it out of Caleb's hands, run it 35 times between, Monungai and Swift. Both of those guys are in play, obviously, in 12-team formats. Swift more so than Monungai. But what I'm saying is if Purdy can produce like I think he can against the Bears, then the Bears are forced into throwing it more. That means that, DJ Moore can get there. It means Luther Burden, who plays quite a lot from the slot against the Niners, like I said, with Josh Downs last week. He becomes interesting. Colston Loveland, who had good usage last week. I mentioned him in the regression files. I couldn't remember which tight end, but yes, it just came to me. I mentioned Loveland in regression files because I didn't want folks to like forget or dismiss that he had his best usage of the season last week. And I know it didn't amount to much. I get that, so unless you have like a points per good usage league, which I'm looking into powerfully, by the way, for next year, it didn't matter for you. But don't forget about him. So yeah, Niners, Bears, good environment. Falcons, Rams are next, 49.5 point total. Of course, most of that is on the Rams side. They have a 28.75 implied total. Corum's in play. If Devontae Adams is out, then both the tight ends, Parkinson and Terrence Ferguson are in play. I mean, Ferguson and Parkinson had the same usage last week. like basically the same route share, basically the same targets per route run. It's just Ferguson came down with a touchdown. I mean, and isn't that always the way with tight ends? You score a touchdown, you feel good about it. You don't score a touchdown, you feel like a total chump who went with the streamer of the week in Parkinson. But it's more complicated than that in a Rams offense where, you know, they frequently use 2 and 3 tight ends. If the Rams do to the Falcons defense what I think they'll do, which is unspeakable, then Kirk Cousins has to drop back a lot. The Falcons are forced into a pass-heavy script. That benefits Pitts. It means that Tyler Allgeier's not in play. It means Drake London's in play, assuming he does suit up. I know he was seen limping on the sideline a little bit last week, but I think he is expected to play here, according to Raheem Morris. And then last game I want to mention here, Colts Jaguars, 48.5 point total. That's actually up 2 points from the start of the week. I think it's up 2 points for this reason. Philip Rivers showed signs of life on Monday night against San Francisco. We talked about it at the beginning of the Rotoworld football show on Thursday, but you know, relative to what we saw in week 15 against the Seahawks, old man Rivers, that dad running Phil Rivers, you know, still not looking in game shape. No judgment as a fellow 40-something-year-old dad. But his arm was livelier. I wrote about this in my matchup column. His arm was livelier. He produced way more air yards than we saw in week 15. And I know that sounds like shallow and like, so what? We don't care about air yards. But look, if 4 Colts pass catchers have to share 130 air yards, none of them are going to get there, most likely, without a lot of yards after the catch. If those 4 have to share 270 air yards like they did against the Niners, somebody is getting there. At least one person, maybe 2. So that's a good game environment to attack Jaguars Colts. All right, let's look at your questions. I'm going to adjust my camera a little bit. You like my new sweater? I got it for Christmas. Very nice, I think. Anyway, my wife thinks so too. Alex is in the chat. Dr. D, salute to you, as all doctors do. I need the good advice again. All right. Well, you pay for it, so I'll give it to you. Pick one between Rico, Godwin, or Diggs. That's a tough one. So I think Diggs is the play. My worry is that the Patriots are not going to be pushed at all against the Jets, and that worries me a little bit. Diggs saw a season high route participation rate last week, so that's good. I'm thinking that's not going to hold up here because they probably won't need him that much. Rico Dowdle is interesting, I think, because the Panthers are going to do everything they can to keep the ball on the ground, right? And the backfield split between Rico Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard actually leaned pretty hard Rico Dowdle's way last week, including with route running and targets and pass catching. So let me think about this for a second. It's not Godwin. I would actually lean Rico Dowdle, and the Panthers' offensive line could get help back for this week. Maybe we'll see. So I'd go with Rico. All right. Phil says, hope all is well. Same to you. Championship week, and it's 1 versus 2 in my 16-team league. Ooh, wow. I can't even imagine how good it feels to get to a championship game in a 16-team league. That's sick. That's disgusting stuff. I mean, that's like stuff where you're like, oh my, if I can just start Samaje Perine at running back, I'm good. Right? Or like Cavante Mumpfield is my wide receiver 2 in that league. I mean, that's gross stuff. Congratulations on making it that far. I've had Baker Mayfield all season as my quarterback. Is it too cute to play Shuck over Baker? I think both have nice matchups. Is it too cute? I don't know how I did this. especially for the last stream of the season. But I forgot to tell the folks who may be joining for the first time in late December here that we don't get cute with our lineup decisions on this stream. And if you get too cute, you get the boot. That's just the way it goes. You're booted from the stream. You're not really, but I get upset. Is it too cute to play Tyler Shuck over Baker Mayfield? I actually don't think it is too cute. Tyler Shuck was actually I'm gonna try to stop saying real quick. Tyler Shuck was my cover guy for my matchup column because he's playing a pretty pronounced pass funnel in the Titans. Teams have been leaning toward the pass bigly against Tennessee over the past 8 weeks. I think that continues here. Something ain't right with the Bucs offense. But he's playing the Dolphins. Dolphins, I'm kind of giving up. I guess stick with Baker. Look, the Bucs, they have to win. They have to win. So they'll press. I do think Ewers being under center for Miami gives the Dolphins a better shot at pushing the pace and forcing the Bucs to score a little more than they would have with Tua under center. The Dolphins' total team air yards was way up last week. They were averaging like 160 with Tua under center since Tyreek went down. And then last week with Ewers, they got up to like 240 total team air yards. That's significant. So, yeah, I think it is a little too cute. You don't get the boot. It is too cute. Go with Baker. All right. Zork is in the chat. Hello, Zork. Best thing that I ate this holiday season. That's a good question. What was the best thing I ate? Ooh, I know. My wife's banana pudding dessert is unbelievable. Like we actually have, like, we go to this Christmas Eve party with my side of the family on Christmas Eve, right? And people will actually like ask, like, timidly, like, did you guys bring the banana stuff? Like, you got any more of that banana stuff? Because I remember it from last year and I couldn't get enough. We're like, yeah, we have it. Like, oh, thank God. Christmas isn't ruined. That stuff, it rules. Question number 2, half PPR, AD Mitchell or Alec Pierce? I think it's Pierce. And then tight end Brenton Strange, he has a good matchup. Tungus or Taysom. Let's just talk about Taysom real quick. Don't get over your skis on Taysom. Last week was the Taysom Hill Memorial game for the Saints. It was most likely his last game at the Mercedes Superdome, whatever it's called. And the Saints were pretty clear, like, that they wanted to focus on him and center him in their offense. And they did. 16 touches for Taysom Hill, a big fantasy day. And he had a touchdown reception called back on a penalty. Could have been even bigger. He's not seeing 16 touches this week. And I don't want folks to chase those points too hard. Now, could he score a touchdown, like a short yardage touchdown, and kind of save his day? Yeah, he could. Because the Saints, I think, very well could, at the 1 yard line, just give it to Taysom in some fashion, whether it's in shotgun or under center or tush push or whatever. He could be the guy who gets the chance to score from short distance. Because they don't have another viable running back. I wouldn't go with him here. I would go with Brenton Strange because of the offensive environment, and the Colts are allowing the second most targets per game to the tight end position. And Brenton Strange, weirdly, is like such an important player to this Jacksonville offense. Like, not an exaggeration. I'm not doing a bit. Like Brenton Strange is way more important to the Jacksonville offense than like say Brian Thomas Jr. They love him. He's running a lot of routes. I'd play Strange. Laney Horn in the chat. Merry Christmas, Doc. Salute to you. Merry Christmas. Rams defense or Chargers? Rams. Go with Rams. May or Burrow? Honestly, I'd go with May. I think I'd go with May. Man, the vibes are so toxic and horrible with Joe Burrow and the Bengals right now. I mean, but he got there last week against the Dolphins. I don't think you can go terribly wrong here. But I would have a hard time like benching guys against the Jets. This Jets defense is like special in its terribleness. In its putrid state, something along those lines. I would go with May. I'd go with May. And then start 2, Hollins, Pierce, Mitchell, QJ. Look, if May's going to have a good solid day, I think Mac Hollins is very much involved, especially if Kayshon Boutte is out. I believe he's in the concussion protocol. Not sure they're going to rush him back. Let me know, by the way, if there are updates to anybody on keep it locked to Rotoworld. Keep it locked all the way to Rotoworld throughout this weekend. But I'm just looking at some updates here. Trayvon Henderson did not have a non-contact injury, non-contact jersey on in practice today. That indicates that he could play this week. I think I'm just firing up everybody against the Jets at this point. I feel like that's a pretty good process. So Hollins, May, and QJ. We talked about him on the podcast. I like him this week. Alex back in the chat. Pick 2, Waddle, Pittman, or Michael Wilson. Wilson, I know, he kind of got away with it. Only targeted on 12% of his routes last week with MHJ back and the centerpiece of the offense. I mean, MHJ, very clearly makes this Arizona offense worse because they feel compelled to have him as the centerpiece, and he's not a centerpiece player. He's just a guy. Michael Wilson's a dog. I trust him to get there against the Bengals. They're horrible secondary. And then I'd go with Waddle. Waddle was targeted on a high rate of his routes last week, 35%, I believe. That's hard to bench. And like I said, the Dolphins saw a pretty big increase in total team air yards. That I think that puts Waddle and, to an extent, Darren Waller in play. So Waddle and Wilson. For me, Laney Horn, one more, Tyler Warren or Darnell Washington. You made me choke. Darnell Washington's fun, but that's a horrible game environment for Steelers Browns. So it's Tyler Warren pretty easily for me. All right, let's go. Ian says, hi, Denny. Hi, Ian. I somehow survived my deficit. Oh, wow. You won after getting Puka Stafford on Thursday night last week and miraculously made the finals. Wow. Sadly, I started Gibbs and JMO. Oh, okay. Oh, man, that Lions offense really quite down bad. Need 2 of the following for the flex. So you need upside here. Trayvon Henderson, Watson, and Hollins. All right. So I think it's Henderson and Watson if Jordan Love plays. Okay. And as of right now, I don't know if he's playing. If Malik Willis plays, I think it's pretty easily Henderson and Hollins. Like I said, you get 2 guys, big part of their respective offenses. They're playing the Jets with a sky high team total here for New England. I'm going to look at it real quick. Look at it powerfully. All right. New England, 28-point implied total. They're going to score some points. That's my theory. Okay. I'm going to be brave and I'm going to say the Patriots are going to pour it on the Jets. So So yeah, if Love starts, then it's Watson and Henderson. If not, Hollins and Henderson. And I guess, if Henderson doesn't play, then you have your answer right there. All right. Francisco says, hello, Doc. Hello to you. Salute. Need one running back and 3 flex, full PPR. Whew, okay. Kyron Williams or Kenny Gainwell. Full PPR. I'd lean Gainwell. The Metcalf thing. The Metcalf thing opens up so many targets and touches for other pass catchers in this offense. If you can guess the tight end correctly, maybe Washington, maybe Freiermuth, maybe Jonnu Smith, who knows? If you have like an inside track on like reading Arthur Smith's mind, maybe his barber, and Arthur Smith talked to his barber. Look, it's a Jonnu week, brother. That's all I got to say. And then that, so you go in, you pick up Jonnu Smith, and you play him. You play him in every lineup. If you don't know that, I try to avoid the Pittsburgh tight ends. And then the receivers are just garbage, so forget about it. Even though Mike Tomlin continues to play mind games about Roman Wilson. Just keep that in mind. Oh, if you're in like a 16-team league, you need to get Roman Wilson. And hopefully he's active. He's been a healthy scratch for 3 straight weeks, and Mike Tomlin's talking about him like he's the 1-for-1 replacement for DK Metcalf. It's very curious. Anyway, I go with Gainwell, and then 3 flex. Michael Wilson, Tracy, Stevenson, Myers, Diggs, Blake Corum. That's a lot. All right. Well, here's what I'll say. You got to go Stevenson if Henderson is out. Okay. If Henderson plays, then I would go Jacoby Myers, Michael Wilson, and Corum. And Corum. I have trouble. I'm like I said at the top of the show, I'm going to have a lot of trouble being like yes on Giants players. Unless the situation is pretty dire for your fantasy team, in which case I might consider it. But I'm going to lean away from Tracy. I'm going to lean toward Blake Corum. So Myers, Corum, Stevenson if he plays. If not, then Michael Wilson. I hope that helps. All right. This person says Gainwell is a stud. Steelers Nation is coming. I fear they are, and I'm scared. Let's see. Francisco back in the chat. Doc, if Kittle is out, I need 1 tight end. By the way, I love the Niners got in on the bit this week about George Kittle's ankle injury. They called it low to mid ankle sprain. Oh man, that's good. That's good stuff. I got on Blue Sky, the sports app, I got like 15 people tagging me like within seconds of the 49ers releasing that report, right? What does this mean? They're asking me, what does this mean? Because I do the high ankle, low ankle sprain bit, right? Because teams know that fans are savvy enough to know that like if you say high ankle sprain, like right off the bat, like come out and admit it, then it's totally over for that player. Like you're talking weeks and weeks and weeks. So when they say mid to low, it makes me think that it is actually high, but they don't want to say it. And I know Kittle said it was not a high ankle sprain, but he also said that he was hip drop tackled. I'm still wondering, are folks upset that they took the hip drop tackle out of the NFL? I remember there were lots of pro hip drop tackle folks out there last year. They said, if you take that out of the game, it's not football anymore. If a guy can't grab the back of a guy's shoulder pads and drag him down while intentionally sitting on his legs and therefore either cracking his leg in half or giving him the worst ankle sprain anyone's ever experienced. If you can't do that, then you might as well just not have the NFL. That was the argument. I haven't seen that discourse this year. Anyway, he got hip drop. Usually a hip drop results in a high ankle sprain. But anyway, 1 tight end, Loveland, Hill, Strange, Barner, Parkinson. Thanks for all the great advice. You're welcome. Strange is in a good spot against the Colts. I would go with him. All right. Ian says, last prescription of 2025. All right. I should wear the CVS white jackets that they wear. Gesicki or Parkinson at tight end. Go with Gesicki. Get weird, man. Get weird. Gesicki has the upside. He's the upside swing here. Yeah, I'd go with him. All right. Zork is back in the chat. You have to bench one quarterback. Unfortunately, I don't have to do nothing, Zork. Just for information, but I'll do this for you. Purdy, Brissett, or Caleb Williams. You bench Caleb. There you go. I mean, come on. Caleb got away with it last week. All right. Patrick Mel's in the chat. Help. Gray robed one. Patrick is still talking about the sweater that was mistaken for a robe that I wore on this stream like 3 years ago. We love you, Patrick. Full PPR in the flex. I was gonna read that as one sentence. Full PPR in the flex. Dylan Sampson. All right, Dylan Sampson if healthy, or Michael Wilson. Oh man, the screen passes are crazy with the Browns right now. I would actually lean Sampson, I think. I mean, Wilson is the upside swing. So like if you're facing a deficit, or like you need to swing for the fences and you're going Wilson. I mean, if not, full PPR, Dylan Sampson, he'll likely run most of the routes if he plays. And all Shedeur Sanders does is check down to his running backs. You could do worse than Dylan Sampson. Also, better defense play the Rams or the Texans. I'd go with the Rams. I don't care that they're on the road. I mean, it's Atlanta. No one's going to be there. Thanks for another year of yes, you're welcome. You are welcome. And thanks for joining us throughout the season. Joining us, meaning me and my multiple personalities. No, just me. Choose two for non-PPR: Luther Burden, Parker Washington, Mac Hollins, Kanata Mumfield. Kanata Mumfield was second in air yards last week behind Puka Nacua, and only by like a little. I know that's weird, but like he saw some action. He saw some good usage. So since this is non-PPR, so standard, you're gonna, you lean heavily on yardage and touchdown. So I'd go with Mac Hollins for sure. He's a good bet for a touchdown here. And then go with Burden if he plays. If Burden doesn't play, go with Washington. Go with Parker Washington. I'm sorry. I really wanted a chance to recommend Kanata Mumfield, and I blew it. All right. This person says, hello, sir, Dr. Denny. The man's man Esquire. Yes, that's right. I just want to thank you and your team for an incredible information the last 2 years. Last year I was third. This year I'm in the championship. That's awesome. I love to hear that. I know we have a lot of bits and a lot of jokes and a lot of irony on the Rotoworld Football Show because we are elder millennials and that's how we were raised. But we do actually love to see you guys do well. And that's really like the goal. Like, when I'm doing research for the show or for my articles, I'm like, kind of the driver in the back of my head is A, how many jokes can I get off in this column? And then B, how can I help people? Like, what is actionable for this coming week? Because when it comes down to it, like just traditional redraft fantasy football, it's a weekly game. Like, I mean, I know you can look forward and be like, okay, I'm going to pick up this defense because they're playing that offense later in the year, whatever. I get that, but really it's just a week-to-week game. And so like backwards looking analysis doesn't really hold up. You want to look forward. You want to have actionable stuff. I'm glad to hear it, brother. All right. Stuntman Chuck 85, one of my favorites in the chat. Salute, Dr. Denny. Yes. Who are your kicker streamers for this week? I desperately need to win my consolation brackets. I'm gonna help you dominate the consolation bracket. You don't even know, man. All right, here we go. You ready for this? Charlie, I'm gonna say Smith. It could be Smythe against the Titans. He's the Saints kicker. He made 5 of 6 field goals last week against the Jets. Not expecting that again, but I think it's a good matchup. I think the Saints will move the ball pretty easily against Tennessee. So he's one. Charlie Smith or Smythe, however you want to say it. Harrison Mavis, the thicker kicker, he's thicker than ever. Some are saying against Atlanta because the Falcons. And then Andy Borregales, the Patriots kicker, against the Jets because again, the ball will be matriculated down the field against the New York Jets. Those are three options I would play off the waiver wire. And then the final question from this listener, this viewer who is in the championship, Corum or Gainwell? I wish I knew if it were PPR, man, or half PPR, whatever. Man. I'd still go with Gainwell. I mean, Gainwell has like 18 touch upside here. I'm not sure Corum has that. So yeah, I go with Gainwell. Hopefully it's PPR. I think that would help. Ruben says, Dr. Denny, salute. Half PPR, pick one running back and one flex between Blake Corum, Taysom Hill, Emmanuel Wilson, and Audric Q. Estime the third. It's not Estime. I mean, let's just be real. Josh Jacobs is playing because Josh Jacobs has never not played, except for last week when he did play and then he didn't play. That was fun. That was fun for DFS purposes. Okay, yeah. I mean, we got it. Taysom Hill and Blake Corum. All right, I think that's good. Let's do it. All right. Phil, back in the chat. Would it be cray or, quote, too cute to play both Gainwell and Warren over Corum in my flex, or just play one Steelers running back? Full PPR, and I have Gainwell in the lineup with CMC. That's a nice luxury. It's a little, it's a little cute to play two running backs from the same backfield. We'll get into this in a minute, but the Cleveland run defense is kind of collapsing over the past month. It could just be a matter of not really wanting to play. I think you see that with really bad teams whose season is lost by the early or mid-December, right? Is like the first place you see the giving up is in run defense. Second place you see the give up is in the play calling, like we see with the Giants, but going 24% under their expected pass rate, like trying to lose a game. So what I'm saying is, I think that it is viable to play Warren and Gainwell. I would play Gainwell over Corum. Corum and Warren are similar. Okay, it does feel a little cute. Go with Gainwell because it's PPR, and go with Corum. And I guess just Ben. Oh, man. I guess just bench Warren. That's tough. It's tough. I'm thinking that you probably can't go like horribly wrong here. At least that's my hope. Okay. Hello, Dr. D. That's me. Tedero McMillan or Michael Carter in the flex. McMillan. Eric says, who is better to start, Trevor Lawrence or Jalen Hurts? Thank you. You're welcome. And it's Trevor Lawrence. It's good. It's a really good offensive environment. I wrote about Bills and Eagles in my matchup column, which you can find on rotoworld.com. Keep it locked to Rotoworld, by the way. Eagles Bills profiles as an ugly game offensively. It's a James Cook game. It's maybe a Saquon game. It's a Jalen Hurts run the ball game. I don't like that environment at all. And it's supposed to be windy and possibly like winter mix situation, typical Buffalo stuff in late December. So Lawrence will be indoors where football should be played, under a dome. And that's why I will go with him. All right. Let's see. Caleb or Shuck, 6-point passing touchdowns. That doesn't really matter. That's close. So I think the Bears are going to try to run the ball bigly against the Niners because the Niners are mostly a run funnel. I would lean Shuck. There. All right. This person says flex. This person put minimal effort into their question, I'll still answer it, but very little effort. Low energy question is what I would call it. A flex between BTJ, Parker Washington, or Corum. It's Corum. It's Corum. Stuntman Chuck's back in the chat. Would it be too cute to bench AJ Brown for Kyle Monangai? People are asking and need to know. More and more are asking this. I was on I was in the local coffee shop, earlier today. And I heard, young people, Zoomers whispering, do I play Monangai? Is he a viable play over AJ Brown? I mean, you look at the neutral pass rate for the Bears over the past 6 weeks, it would suggest that Monangai is the play. I mean, this is what the young people are talking about, just constantly. Kyle Monangai this, Kyle Monangai that. Anyway, I was just listening in, eavesdropping, trying to get familiar with what the Zoomers are talking about these days. Is that too cute? Do you get the boot? Is the question. No. Yes, too cute. You get the boot. You're booted. I'm kidding, stuntman. I would never boot you. Go with AJ Brown. And go with God. Not to get religious. Pick 2 between Woody Marks, Emmanuel Wilson, Samaje Perine, and Dowdle. It's a caveman league, standard scoring. Right. So like a huge game for one of these guys would be like 9 points. Because again, it's caveman scoring. Let's see. Let me just do something real quick here just to spread the word of this little chat. And we'll go with Woody Marks, P. Ryan, Dowdle. Do it. Let's go. All right. Sampson or Michael Carter. Full PPR. Michael Carter's not involved in the pass game at all. I mean, no running back is really involved in this Arizona pass game. That's the drawback. Like, that's why it's like, you're hoping for Michael Carter to bust like a 40-yard touchdown and then you get there, right? But besides that, I mean, you get a lot of between the 20s work for Michael Carter. You might get some goal line or like inside the 10 work, maybe, but that's not guaranteed. And the Cardinals, with Jacoby Brissett under center, I think are the 3rd pass heaviest team in the league in the red zone. So they're not even trying really to run it when they get close. For that reason, I would lean Sampson if he plays. Michael Wilson or Jaylen Warren for flex. I'd go with Warren. It's like I said, good matchup against a collapsing Cleveland rush defense. Just jumping into the chat to wish you happy holidays. Thank you. I appreciate that. Same to you. I hope you had I hope you have a good holidays. The holidays are still going. My nose itches as the holidays continue to go. Let's see. This person says 1 running back and 1 flex: Corum, Carter, Sampson, Khalil Shakir the 4th. It's not Shakir. That's all I know. 1 running back and 1 flex. Yeah, it's Sampson and Corum. There you go. All right. Let's get to running back matchups. I'm Ron Burgundy. Yeah. Let's see. Rush defense since week 10. So we are focused in on the past 7 weeks. We're going to look at the metric I like to call yards before contact per attempt. This sort of measures like which defensive lines are losing at the line of scrimmage consistently. And at the top, we actually have a pretty surprising team, in part due to last week's game against the Ravens. The Patriots are giving up the highest rate of yards before contact per attempt since week 10, over 3 yards before contact. That's a lot. That's not a little. Does it mean much for this week? I don't know. I mean, you're starting Breece Hall if you absolutely have to. But besides that, I mean, you should not push the Breece Hall thing. If you have to, you might feel okay about it because of the stat I just said, but still not good. Bucks giving up the 2nd highest rate of yards before contact per attempt. It's Devon Achane season as per usual. The Bears giving up the 3rd highest rate. So CMC, whatever. It doesn't matter. I mean, he's like the least efficient running back in the league, and it doesn't matter. Commanders, they already played. They're fourth. Bills giving up the fifth highest rate of yards before contact. That's a good Saquon stat. I mean, that's like how he succeeds is against those sort of defenses that allow a lot of yards before contact, because he doesn't, traditionally Saquon is not a yards after contact guy. It's before contact where he succeeds. The Steelers, sixth highest rate of yards before contact. So like, Dylan Sampson, whoever else might get touches in that Cleveland backfield this week. The Giants giving up the seventh highest rate of yards before contact. Ashton Genty is, if you somehow, some way survived Ashton Genty throughout this season and got to your league's championship, in part due to Genty's huge week 16 against the Texans out of nowhere, the Texans of all teams, then you're cooking and you have to play him. This is a great spot. Panthers, eighth highest rate of yards before contact, but they're playing the Seahawks and no one cares. Let's look at the bottom here. The Titans giving up the lowest rate of yards before contact per attempt. Okay, so this is another reason why I think the Saints will be pass heavy this week. The Saints had the second most total team air yards in the league last week, over 300. Like, that's cooking. Like, that profiles as an offense that can support, obviously, the number one pass catcher in Chris Olave, who is a smash this week, and also Juwan Johnson, who was very much involved last week and the week before to a lesser extent, running a lot of routes. So he can get there. And then, maybe somebody else can come along like a Taysom Hill. Again, don't get too weird about Taysom because they're not going to do what they did last week. But anyway, I like the Saints passing game for several reasons. In part because the Titans shut down run games. At least they have over the past 7 weeks. The Vikings are second best in this category. We saw what they did to the Lions on Christmas Day. Raiders, third best actually in yards before contact per attempt. Tyron Tracy, Devin Singletary. I'm just not interested. The Dolphins giving out the fourth highest rate or fourth lowest rate. It's not a good spot for Bucky Irving. It's just not. And especially now that, Sean Tucker, the bigger back, is seeing short yardage and goal line work. It's ugly. It's just an ugly matchup. And then the Texans giving up the fifth lowest rate of yards before contact per attempt. What does that mean for the Chargers? I mean, I think it means that they're going to have to drop back more than we've seen them dropping back of late. Could be good for their pass catchers, although the targets are so evenly spread out that you're just like hoping for a touchdown. If you're playing Ladd McConkey, if you're playing Quentin Johnson, you can't really play Keenan Allen. He's only running half the routes week in and week out. You can't play Arondé Gadsden, unfortunately. I really was enjoying that situation. So, what is that? So I guess Hampton is a flex. And then Vidal is, I also a flex because he's probably going to run more routes, or at least the same number of routes as Hampton. All right, that's a look at your running back matchups for Week 17. We're going to do about 10 more minutes, folks. I'm going to try to get some more questions. Afternoon, Den Dog. I am starting Schultz against the Chargers or Juwan Johnson against Titans. I mean, I think both are really good plays. Schultz is running 85% of the routes recently, being targeted on 22% of those routes. It's strong. It's strong. I feel more comfortable recommending Schultz. I also like Juwan Johnson. And honestly, Johnson might be the upside swing. So depending on your situation, just know that. I will officially say Dalton Schultz. This person is in tight end hell. It's a special kind of hell. I reside in it all the time. Taysom, Loveland, Kincaid, or Parkinson if Higbee is out. Yeah, that's gross. I mentioned Loveland. Read about him in the regression files. I think there's a pretty strong case to play. So when you're in tight end hell, first of all, You avoid the lake of fire. Okay. Secondly, you get out of tight end hell by trying to identify a tight end attached to a high scoring game, because a lot of times high scoring games have lots of offensive plays on both sides of the ball. So high play volume, back and forth means at least a moderate amount of dropbacks, if not a high number of dropbacks, right? Back and forth situation. The tight end can get there based on that inflated play volume and dropback volume in those sort of games, in those sort of environments. I think that kind of explains the appeal of Colston Loveland, not Cortland Loveland. Forget about that guy. He's not even playable. Cortland Loveland. Colston Loveland, he's solid, I think, for this week. This person says Waller, Barner, Gesicki, Kincaid, or Parkinson. You should have listed 18 more tight ends. Yeah. Waller. Go with Waller. All right. Nathan says, for that reason, would you start CJ Stroud over Dart? I would. I don't hate the offensive environment in the Chargers Texans. I know that it has a really low total. Let me check the total real quick. Where is that total? All right. We have, oh man, yeah, it's the second lowest of the week, 39.5. I mean, maybe I'm just not seeing it, but like the Texans offense is really pass heavy. And that's like the way that you can get there against the Chargers. You can't run it against them. I would go with Stroud. Yeah, definitely over Dart. Okay, CJ needs a lot of help. If Kittle is out, I would help you with that, folks. Pierce or Watson, full PPR. Thanks for your advice this season. You're welcome. Go with Christian Watson if Love plays. If not, then just go with Pierce. Hope for a touchdown. Devon Vele is in the chat. Need one flex, and your opponent has Drake May. I'm squinting not because I need glasses, but because I think I look cool. I think I look smoldering. If only I had a cigarette. I'm kidding. I don't smoke. Come on. It's gross. Please don't tell my kids I said that. Let's see. Start Mike Evans. It's Tedero McMillan, Marvin Harrison Jr., Dylan Sampson, or Stephen Diggs. All right. Your opponent's starting Drake May. Why did you tell me that? Oh, because Diggs. Okay. Need one flex. I mean, yeah. I mean, don't get cute. We don't get cute in the chat. Go with Mike Evans. I'm up by 22 with JCM already as well. Oh, okay. I got you. All right, there you go. Well, Kittle's not going to play, I don't think, Gotham City Raider, so it would be Hunter Henry. Dr. Denny, title on the line. You need to win this week. Unlike the other folks in the chat, they don't need to win. You need to win. I get it. I'm going to give you the right answer, Warren or Strange. Oh, they're in the same game, in the same good offensive environment, in the same good matchup against teams that allow a lot of targets to tight ends. Oh, God. Oh, my God. I'd lean Strange. Yeah. Yes. Lean Strange. Stuntman Chuck says points per good usage league. Sign me up. That's right. Points per good usage. We should award points based on expected fantasy output, right? So like a guy sees like 14 targets, catches 3 for 40 yards. You don't get 7 fantasy points. You get however much they should have scored based on their usage, right? So like how much does a receiver score usually when they see this many targets and this many air yards from this quarterback? Oh, 22 points? Bang, you got 22 points. That's what I'm talking about. All right. Pete's in the chat. Should we roll with Jaden Reed, Dylan Sampson, or Luther Burden in the flex? Yeah. Let me think for a second. No, I don't think Reed. I like Burden. I mean, like I said, Burden's playing a San Francisco defense that allows a lot of production to the slot. By the way, I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to get to the slot receiver stuff, I don't think, unless it's just pulled up here real quick. Yeah. Oh, it is. Okay. I'm going to be real quick with this, and I'm going to answer your questions, okay? This is adjusted yards per attempt to slot receivers since week 10, okay? Bengals are giving up the highest mark here. So who plays from the slot? Trey McBride, is going to go berserk. Panthers allow the second highest adjusted yards per attempt to the slot. JSN goes ballistic, obviously. Bucks third highest, so that's Jalen Warren. That's Darren Waller to an extent. Giants, they're giving up a lot to the slot. Who is that? Is it Trey Tucker? It could be Michael Mayer, guys of that nature. And then the Bears. The Bears are giving up lots of production to the slot. Jake Tunges, I think, could be an interesting play because of that. Let's go down to the bottom here to see the worst matchups against the slot. The Eagles are destroying the slot over the past 7 weeks, 6 or 7 weeks. So that's tough for Khalil Shakir. It's tough for Dalton Kincaid. Rams are second best against the slot. Could be kind of rough for Kyle Pitts, but you should play him. Chargers third best. Like Christian Kirk. Again, it doesn't matter. And then the Seahawks are actually fourth best against the slot over the past 7 weeks. Jalen Coker not in a good spot is what I would say about that situation. All right, like 2 minutes. Hampton or Michael Carter. Hampton. Let's see. The person says Fannin, Loveland, or Pitts. Don't get cute. We don't get cute. Fannin. Go with Fannin. Waller, Barner, Gesicki, Waller. Let's see. Dr. D. Burrow over Stafford. Yes. Yes. Go with Burrow. This person says, are the Packers going to actually try to win since they clinched the playoffs? They have every reason to try to improve their seeding, right? So yeah, Taysom, Loveland, Kincaid, or Parkinson. Okay, this is being spammed, I believe. So sorry about that, folks. A minute left. Full PPR. Choose one wide receiver and one flex. Oh man. Yeah. McMillan and Wilson. McMillan and Wilson. The person says, don't get too cute. That's right. George says, full PPR lost Brock. Would you go Loveland or Waller? I lean Waller. It's tough though. Purdy or May. Too cute. It's too cute. I mean, like I said, Patriots, they're going to score a lot of points. I understand there's a chance like Drake May doesn't play the fourth quarter or whatever because they're up by so much, whatever. He's a good play. He's a great play. So go Drake May. Purdy or Trevor Lawrence, I would lean Lawrence. Merry Christmas, Denster. Same to you. Trying not to be too cute here. Dowdle or Carter. Dowdle. And then Purdy, Lawrence, or Stafford. Lawrence. Let's see. Tunges, Taysom, Loveland, Schultz. Schultz. I talked about him a minute ago. If you want to check that out. There's so many questions, guys. I'm really sorry. I won't be able to answer all of them. I hope someone asks about Green Bay running backs versus Ramondre. I mean, you start Josh Jacobs if he plays, which he should play. Need a flex and 2 running backs, so go with Derrick Henry, go with Josh Jacobs, and go with Blake Corum. There you go. This person says full PPR flex Jonathan Taylor Diggs or Steve. If Henry doesn't play. I mean, I would want Jonathan Taylor there. All right, 2 more questions and then I got to go. Pick one between DJM, Manungai, or Tracy. I think you're going DJ Moore there. Last question of the season. Let's see. All right, we have Mark. I chose you. Championship level decision here. Okay. I have Tyler Warren. I could play him in the early game, but I'd rather play Kittle if he goes. I have Tungus to plug in in the last minute. I mean, Warren's a good play though. Look, hopefully we get more information on Saturday or Sunday about Kittle. Even if he plays, you know, he could be limited. He could be kind of limping out there, not quite 100%. I think falling back on Tyler Warren would be fine, is what I would say. All right. I think that's it. One last one. Jarhead, get the final one. Jacoby Myers or Michael Carter, easily Jacoby Myers. All right, folks. That'll do it for me. Denny Carter. You can find all my work on rotoworld.com. Keep it locked to Rotoworld this week and in all weeks. We're going to have a lot of good off-season stuff for you as well. Just want to thank everyone for joining the stream throughout the season. It actually really fun. Like you might be able to tell, I have a good time on this stream. I find it to be kind of a loose atmosphere. I really like the folks who hang out here on Fridays at 1 o'clock Eastern, the only legitimate time zone. And I hope you took something away, you know, from this. And I tried to share with you a lot of stats that I look at personally to try to analyze these games. I hope that helped. But most of all, I hope you had a good time. So thank you so much for supporting this stream and for joining every week. Until next time, whenever that is, I'm Denny Carter, and good luck to you and only you in week 17.